MSI is upon us once again. This year the favourites are GenG, most people's pick for the best team in the world right now. 2 months ago, T1 looked an absolute mess. 1 month ago, it looked like they might not even qualify for MSI, but then something pretty incredible happened that has people asking once again, could T1 actually do it? Let's break it down.
Before we get into the video, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Omen, who are our portal to possibility for sending us to amazing esports events all over the world. We'll be right there at the center of all the action, sharing the best esports has to offer with all of you. Unleash your ultimate gaming potential with the Omen Max 16 laptop. Crafted for powerful performance, the Omen Max 16 is equipped with up to an Intel Core Ultra 9 processor, offering gamers desktop-level performance anywhere, encased in a light, portable body they can take on the go. Then there's also a groundbreaking new self-cleaning fan technology called Fan Cleaner. Powered by Intel, this built-in feature periodically reverses the fan's direction to prevent dust buildup for absolutely peak reliable performance. And for the first time ever, Omen gives players the ability to manually overclock their laptop CPU and GPU for max performance, up to 250 watts total processing power without having to go into the BIOS. Thanks again to Omen for helping players navigate through any gaming obstacle to reach new levels with the Omen Max 16, now available at omen.com. And now, let's get back to our story.
So yeah, up until a few weeks ago, it looked like T1, the reigning world champions, were not even going to make it to this year's MSI. They had a bang average spring by any account. In a word, it was lackluster. Week after week, their team fighting looked disjointed, and the players seemed to take turns going invisible during series, even faker at times. Some fans even put the blame squarely on his shoulders for certain losses, such as the absolute hammering they received from HLE at the end of May. The team looked like they were on completely different pages. There's been a big question mark over them all year, especially since Zeus left. Despite that being only one roster change, the team has looked unsettled after Doran came in. They seem to have lost that telepathic synergy that proved so hard for other teams to overcome at Worlds last year. And despite the fact that Gumayusi has remained on the team, some fans are concerned that he was quite rattled by the whole drama involving Smash earlier this year, when Guma was benched not once but twice in favor of the 18-year-old prodigy before a unilateral decision from Joe Marsh returned him to the starting roster for good. The messy and very public nature of that whole saga had, for some fans, seemingly knocked Gumayusi off balance ever since. Also, perhaps the departure of Coach Roach at the end of last year removed a hidden linchpin that exposed T1's poor drafts. Whether it was him drafting or just overseeing the players, his influence was clearly invaluable. For others, these concerns were compounded with the introduction of Fearless Draft. T1 are known for locking into a playstyle and mastering it, but Fearless Draft demands more strategic versatility, and as the losses racked up, some had doubts that T1 had that level of diversity in their playbook. As spring continued, in the LCK standings, they struggled to close the gap on Hanwha Life and finished third above a chasing pack of 3 teams with just 1 win less than them. That position seeded them straight into round 3 of the Road to MSI qualification tournament, where they came back from a game down to beat KT. And this is despite some truly bizarre misplays, such as Doran randomly dying to Krugs in game 2.
Yeah, the Akali Gwen are going to win inside lanes against anyone that KT has. There it is. There's that conversation that we were going to have about that.
What?
What? Doran just died to Krugs because he felt like it.
Although they took the dub, nobody expected T1 to then get past HLE to earn the LCK's final MSI spot alongside GenG. In fact, the LCK broadcast team voted 12-2 in favor of HLE ahead of the series. And let's be clear here, that was an extremely reasonable prediction. At this point, T1 hadn't won a best-of series against Hanwha Life all year, a Hanwha Life that had just gone 2-0 up against GenG before being reverse swept the day before. The problem is that the analysts were using their heads to assess the series, and sometimes that doesn't work with T1. In game 1, the deadlock was finally broken by T1 relentlessly charging at HLE.
Now Pop Blossom is going to find only one, but it's Zeus.
Zeus rooted, MF ult's big, but Gwen's immune. That's another kill. That's another kill. And that's another kill. T1 just ran at them in a straight line. They just ran at them. Faker's ulting in a dragon pit.
The recent meta has really favoured skirmish-heavy comps, and that first game made it clear that T1 had done their homework. Game 2 saw T1 remember that Poppy is a champion, and Doran remember how to pop the f*** off.
Delight trying to get out the flash in front from Carrier.
Doran is 1v2ing their carries! Bro, the Doran turnaround needs to be studied.
Hit by everything
It needs to
there
be
in
studied.
Narnia.
In Game 3, Faker picked Annie and helped the team get rolling in what ended up being a brutal stomp. Honestly, T1 could have perfect gamed them if they really wanted to. It wasn't even close.
Golden
Wow.
roads and things like that. I just don't think it's relevant.
Wow.
T1 were just
Wow.
so damn good today.
They
It
were
didn't
so
even
much
look
better.
Like
They were so much better, T1.
They'll take down the Nexus, and T1 will stamp a deserved spot at
That is-
MSI.
Somehow, T1 have returned from looking frankly irrelevant a month ago to sweeping HLE and qualifying for MSI. Something has once again clicked for them in the run-up to an international event. Doran has found some actual belief in himself. Gumayushi seems to have improved week over week. He looks more settled and like his old self, particularly on his comfort picks. One criticism of T1 this year has been how poor their mid-jungle duo has looked compared to other teams, but for some, that HLE series showed that when Faker actually gets his ass off Victor and onto a playmaking champ, he can unlock Owner in a massive way.
Faker picks these engaged supportive mids, and Owner is like, wait, I am one of the best junglers in the world, and you're giving me more resources to carry the game? Perfect.
It's been a significant and rapid turnaround for T1, but the question is it enough to win MSI? And the answer to that actually lies more with another team, GenG. For a lot of people, GenG are simply the best team in the world right now, coming off the back of an imperious 18-0 spring split in the LCK, and with a roster that looks like a fantasy team. Duro is a solid support for sure, but his 4 teammates are all potential Hall of Famers. Between them, Keen, Canyon, Chovy, and Ruler have 2 Worlds and 4 MSI titles. Chovy in particular has somehow found an even higher gear to shift into this year. He's gapping everyone he comes up against. This feels like his golden age. And let's not forget that for the first time ever, he'll be going into an international event as a defending champion, having won MSI last year. Other teams will have to pry this trophy from his hands if they want it. Of course, there are other teams that T1 have to worry about here. You would have firmly placed the LPL's AL and maybe even BLG above T1 until just a few weeks ago. Western teams don't really look too dangerous at the moment. This won't be the G2 of old, and Koi still have something to prove internationally, but they'll be capable of giving Eastern teams a bloody nose. Let's not forget FlyQuest, who will also be at MSI of course, taking GenG to 5 games at Worlds last year. But if we're being sensible, it's GenG's tournament to lose. They look head and shoulders above not just the LCK, but the entire world. The problem, of course, is that being sensible when it comes to T1 doesn't always work. Some people say that the T1 plot armor only kicks in around October for Worlds. At last year's MSI, for example, T1 were between 2 Worlds wins and didn't make it to the grand final. But something about that recent performance against HLE has people wondering if T1 have managed to recreate that Worlds magic a little earlier this year. The games begin tomorrow. Let's see what happens.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring that notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit up our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook pages.